I would like to tell you first the introduction of the embedded product. The embedded system, as you guys know, it is a microcontroller or microprocessor based system which is designed to execute the specific set of tasks. That embedded product majorly falls into the electronic design domain, where the hardware designer, firmware, software developer, tester, mechanical enclosure designer, various disciplinary of the engineers need to work together to from start to end. If you can see the examples of the various embedded products, you can see that automatic washing machine, mobile phones, modern smart LED TVs, electronic doors, locking system, the access control system, the smart watches, wearables, control closed loop systems, CCTV cameras, smart vision systems, vending machines, dashboard of the electric vehicles. So here, briefly, you can see the one example I broaden out how the automatic washing machine could be the example of the embedded systems. So if you can see, there is a input buttons and display which called HMI. There is a motor which is the actuator. There are some kind of sensor inbuilt into. There are microcontrollers, RAM, ROM, all together combined onto the one machine. And there is a specifically firmware written to execute the set of tasks in the sequential manner. So that is called the embedded system. Now, before bringing go further into the phases, we must understand what is the system engineering. A system engineering is a holistic, integrative discipline wherein the contributions of electrical, electronics engineers, software engineers, mechanism engineer, power engineers, and many more disciplines are evaluated and balanced one against another to produce a coherent whole that is not dominated by the perspective of a single discipline. So embedded system engineers cannot alone work. If you've been told to, like, I need to develop some kind of electronic system, embedded system, then the not alone electronics engineer need to work, because there are complete package we need to develop over the electronic system. There is a enclosure, there is a software design, there is a firmware development, there is a testing department, there is a hardware design. So all these discipline needs to work together, and that is called to the system engineering. Now, if we can start from step one by one. So first step is the architecture design, or we can say the block diagram. There is a different person who specifically works specifically to the architecture development only in most of the companies. So like there is a chief engineer or principal engineer. They got the specification from the salesperson or product owner that they need to develop some kind of devices. So the job of the architecture or the principal engineer is to put everything specs which are documented onto the form of the architecture or form of the block diagram, so that the electronics hardware engineer or firmware engineer can understand the requirement easily. That's the first step. The second step is the component selection. So based on the architecture freezing, which is done by chief system architect or principal engineer, then now the job start of the design engineer. So they need to start the finding suitable components for the electronic design requirement from the online vendors or the offline vendors. So these are the specifically some of the vendors we look generally for the electronics component finding: DigiKey, RS Component, Moser. These are the standard distributor. Then after selecting the components, we do the schematic design. Once the architecture design and the component selection finishes, designer needs to put all the component into the form of schematic, so which fulfill the criteria of the architecture design. So various interface design they need to do, like power supply design, resistor, capacitor value they need to define, and that fulfills the block diagram criteria. There are different softwares which we use for the circuit design, like Altium Designer, Orchid, Eagle, DeepTrace, PATS, KiCad. Generally, if I tell you the trend, that 10 years ago, people were used to go with the Orchid. But then since the 2010, the trend shifted towards the Altium Designer. And right now the trend is most of the industry do their PCB design in the Altium. And there is also freeware software which the newbies engineers, and which don't have the enough budget to like startup companies, they can use the KiCad also, which is the completely free. So as you can see in this previous schematic, This is the Altium tool which is used for the design. Then step 4 is the printed circuit board. So what is this form is actually the whichever the schematic which we have designed, that is the logical interface of the circuits. So now we have to give the mechanical form of the design. So in this phase, there are dedicated CAD engineers in the industry. The experienced person we have to take charge, and they need to place the component according to the requirement of the board size, which is given by the mechanical engineer. As I said earlier, the embedded system need not to the single engineer can develop. So whole the team need to integrate, work together. So those are the requirement when the PCB designer gets the enclosure size, what enclosure size they need to define the PCB board size, and they need to place the components. And then you can see there are different lines like red lines, blue lines. So we called these lines as a PCB traces. This PCB traces is basically the copper area where the signal goes from in and out to the controller and various components. And the right side you can see the actual PCB which comes from the manufacturing unit. This is how it looks. As a summary, manufacturing phases I have given. There are Gerber release for PCB manufacturing. So in the previous slide, as you can see, there is a left side, the PCB design is done. So now the team needs to generate the Gerber files. The Gerber file is for the manufacturing files, which we need to give to the PCB manufacturer. Then the PCB manufacturer do the bare board testing, like the PCB they have developed, which is as per the criteria meeting or not, the electrical testing they do. So which is called the BBT testing. Then the team needs to do the component purchase. So based on the schematic design and the phase 2 was, I tell you, that component searching. So all the components now they need to release the purchase order. Then the PCB and the components need to transfer for the assembly vendor. So what the assembly vendor do, they take the component, they take the PCB, they take the bill of material, and they mount the component. All these 4 stages which I mentioned you, that can be alone also handle, like the PCB, like the in-house design team also can handle, or there are specifically vendors which is called electronic manufacturing service provider. They also themselves can do. We just have to give them bill of material file, Gerber files, that's all, and they can manufacture the PCB by themselves. They can assembly the components by themselves, they can test the units by themselves, and they can provide the printed circuit board assembly back to the design firm. Though this is the step 6 I have mentioned here, firmware development, it is actually not the step 6. It can be fall here from in parallel with the step 3 also. So I mean, someone can ask that how the before printed circuit board arrived, before microcontroller, one can start the firmware development. But they can to speed up the target, to match the release date of the product. So what firmware team can do, they can purchase the development boards from the market for the same controller part number which they are going to use in the PCB, and they can start the firmware in the parallel. So firmware is a term specifically used in the embedded domain. It's a branch of software vertical when the developer writes a code that directly deals with the microcontroller, which is called the firmware. Whereas the firmware, the software developed on the Windows or Linux environment, on which the engineer don't have to bother about the architecture of the processor. So when you see, if we compile the code on the Turbo C, if you can remember the engineering first year, there we don't have to read the architecture of the microprocessor x86, so which is called the software. But when we write the code for the microcontroller like 8051 or the ARM controller, then we have to read the data sheet of the controller. We need to deal with the timers, like all the registers. We need to read those data sheet of the software before along with the developing the code. So that's why that software is called the firmware for the embedded system. Then comes the 7th step. It's the unit testing. Once the PCBA arrive back to the design facility, it needs to be tested by the cross-functional engineer or specific, depends on the organizational model. The hardware engineer needs to ensure that the peripherals are operating with the desired power level. Also, he needs to ensure the heat of the PCB with the peak performance. So when the PCBA arrived from the manufacturing facility, various kind of testing need to be done on the PCB. So the hardware engineer who designed the schematic, who designed the PCB of the product, he needs to ensure the peak performance. So when on the firmware will be on the peak for performance level, he need to ensure the heat level of the PCB. He needs to ensure that the power voltage is being supplied to the each and every component or not. So those are the role of the hardware engineer to verify the product. The firmware engineer needs to ensure the functionality of the PCBA is properly working. So the functionality, one can take the example of ADC, I2C, SPI, various blocks here, the PWM, and the firmware algorithm which here developed, and the functionality which the product owner requires. Those functionality basically matching or not, that's come for the firmware engineer's responsibility. The mechanical engineer needs to ensure the retrofitting of the PCBA inside the enclosure he designed, right? So once the PCBA arrived, so there are mechanical engineers who parallelly works with the PCB design engineer guy, and he developed the some kind of enclosure in the SolidWorks or AutoCAD. So along with the PCBA steps here, like manufacturing phases, so in parallel with the step 5, the mechanical guy can also release his step file for the manufacturing prototype. And the PCBA and manufacturing, he needs to make sure that PCBA is being like, is there any error, some kind of like 0.2 mm, if there is an error of 0.3 mm also in the width of the PCB, then it cannot be fit into the enclosure, or there are some kind of complexity, complex product. They're like wearables nowadays, you can see there are so much tiny PCB, tiny enclosure there. So that is the job of the mechanical engineer. So that's why on the second slide I mentioned you the system engineering approach we need to take for the embedded system development. Then the final step, this is the product release in market area. Once the above steps successfully verified and system architect verify that the system is working as per the design specs defined and design, they can give the demo to the customer or stakeholder, sales team, etc. And the product can be ready for the release in the market. If by seeing the demo or by seeing the product, if the product owner feels that there is something missing or some feature is not as he expected, then he might give his suggestions to the design team that they need to implement some kind of feature or some kind of accuracy which is not fulfilling. So those are the feedback points. So design team can rework on it. If it is a hardware specific points, then hardware team need to repeat all the steps which I mentioned from the starting from the component searching. If the components they need to change, and then they need to change in the schematic design, they need to change in the PCB design, they need to again release the Gerber. So hardware is a long process. If the firmware, if some function in the firmware, then firmware engineer need to do his reprocess, like he need to change in the algorithm, he need to change in the embedded C, and then he need to verify. So that this is how the general different steps we follow in the embedded system development in the industry. Career path and job opportunities for the embedded system. So in India, there are two kind of industry working I have seen. Some kind of small industry which offer the system design engineer role to the engineers, where one need to handle all the discipline, including hardware design, firmware development, testing, mechanics design, also the sometimes. Big industry offer generally the like vertical oriented role only. They don't allow engineers to work on the all the pillars. So big industry offer generally like hardware engineer, firmware developer, tester. So tester can't do the hardware design can't do the firmware engineer device. So those are the like industry standard. Lots of freelancing opportunities also there. One can find platform like Freelancer, Fiverr, uh, People Per Hour, Guru, etc. Those are the website to make the freelancing profile. But I would suggest at least the engineer need to get the 1 or 2 year experience prior to come to this freelancing opportunity, because there are also tough competition going, which to get a task is not an easy. Generally, in the European country and USA country, there is no concept like hardware designer, firmware developer. That concept in the Indian big multinational company trends going on. In the European countries and USA country, there are concept of the electronic engineer or the system design engineer, where they need to have a knowledge of all the disciplines: hardware design, firmware development, testing, and sometimes to do mechanics design at some point of level, not all the level. What are the required skills to work in the embedded systems domain? So if you want to pursue your path on the hardware design role, like if you like to do some kind of system interfacing, like you want to interface sensors, actuators with the microcontroller, you want to interface memory devices with the controller, and you want to design the PCB for the system. For that, for the fresher level, they ask basic physics principle only. They won't ask you the big question. They will ask you the only basic physics principle: circuit analysis, network theory, basic circuit elements knowledge, analog circuit design, op amps, the transistor, MOSFET, the power formula. So those need to be very concrete if you work out for the hardware, digital circuit design. The power supply design, you need to the differentiate between the LDO, buck boost converter. Yeah, right. And some kind of hands-on with the schematic design softwares like Altium, Orchid, or KiCad. So this is for the hardware design engineer. For the firmware developer, if you want to pursue your career in the firmware development specifically, then you need to very robust on the C language. C is a very fundamental. You don't need to grasp any big fundamental, like you need to be very very very, the Balaguru Sami, the book you might have studied, you need to be thoroughly go with it, and then only the firmware developer engineer interview can be cracked. So they ask generally the C++, embedded C, knowledge of how to yeah, even though you are working firmware development, you need to have a knowledge of how to read the schematic, basically memory mapping, then microcontroller different blocks like SPI, I2C, ADC, timers, scan, link, UART, protocol knowledge, bootloader development, code optimization. So those are the skills for the firmware engineer. For the tester, so nowadays, earlier the tester pillar was not there in the big companies, but nowadays they hire the specific tester also for the system. So for that, the LabVIEW programming is there, Python programming, manual test methods, automated test methods, basic firmware programming in embedded C, hardware knowledge. They should know how to measuring instrument, like they should be aware with the oscilloscopes, function generator. Of course, the hardware designer and firmware developer can also have a knowledge for the like how to operate the oscilloscopes, function generator. Those are the devices. So this is how this is the general, the fundamental, this is the very basic steps I mentioned you in any industry in India, whether you are working as a freelancer, if you work with the product owner, if you get the specification to design the system. So these are the very, 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 very basic steps you need to follow, starting from the specification. You need to then develop the architecture, then you need to develop the schematics. Like if you get this specification from the stakeholder or product owner or the sales team that they need to develop some kind of device, it is very impracticable that you just directly start the schematic design, then you release the PCB. That's not the approach. You need to develop, you need to write the specification in terms of technical, like kind of design document you need to develop first. Then you need to design the architecture, like block diagram. Then you need to take the approval from the product owner team that this is our understanding in terms of technical, please approve. So once they approve the architecture, then only you can go to the schematic design steps. Then after schematic, the PCB design, then PCB manufacturing, and in parallel, the firmware development can start team from the architecture. They can, the design the algorithm. They then they get the approval from the principal engineer or chief system architect, and they start developing the code on the development kit. And the code which they have developed on the development kit. So once the printed circuit boards arrive from the manufacturing facility, they dump that code to the custom PCB basically, and the hardware engineer, firmware engineer, and tester. So all three vertical work together and verify the system is properly working or not, and then they take to the further revision if required, and then the product finally can be able to on the stage, so they can release the product in the market, and then they get the feedback of the customer. Basically that's the job of the sales team. So of course, and they can give the feedback again to the design team that from the next revision onwards, we need to take care of these points. So basically, as you have seen, that embedded system is a holistic approach where the mechanical, software, firmware, hardware designer, tester, all the pillars need to work together. Yeah, that's how.